lapsi leon lis down. Yumma, yumma, yumma. Casa de cacao.
Yum.
Missy good.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Planet Coaster livestream here at youtube.com/Planet Coaster. Thank you so much for joining tonight. We have a very special guest with us tonight and we will introduce that person in just a second. But first of all, I've noticed something in the chat. I've noticed Lorenzo DeFranco, Pyro Man, Lokin, Crowd Pizza, Joel, Games for Tom, Joanna Russell, Marcus Ratz, Crowd Pleaser, S. Dan Wolf or Stan Wolf. Oh my gosh, Curly Hair, Kid, KP, Fog. All of the best ones are here tonight. And there's good reason why all of the best ones are here. And do you know why it is? Well, we have a very special content creator, a very special Planet Coaster builder joining us tonight in this new series, which is all about content creators. We are, or not just content creators, but Planet Coaster builders, essentially. Maybe even some builders that don't usually get quite as much of a showcase as some of others who may, run their own YouTube channels or Twitch streams. But of course, we'll show those guys off too. And tonight is actually the exception. We thought that it would be really good to start off spending an entire live stream, dedicating an entire live stream to picking a certain creator that has made some really, really wonderful things in the workshop or on their YouTube channels or on streams. and spend an hour sort of showcasing exactly what they've done, asking them to pick 10 items, and then we'll pick a number of items, and then they'll talk through sort of the inspiration behind those, why they made them, and a couple of things that are maybe potentially a little bit sort of special or behind the scenes information about those things. We'll learn a little bit about that creator, and yeah, I just think it will be a really lovely way of showing off what's so special about the Planet Coaster community, which includes all of you lovely people here. Tonight we have, and he's in the chat as well already, the big ol' Dabberino himself. We thought it'd be an interesting way to start this series off with somebody who has been creating from the very beginning of the alpha, I believe, and we'll ask him about that in just a second. But we have the one and only, I've written this down because I've never been able to correctly pronounce his name, Silvarret, just say it a couple times, Silvarret. Because I remember the first time at Gamescom when we were showing off Planet Coaster, very, very early days, we were showing off like a second alpha build or something. And Silvarret came along to Gamescom and sat with me on stage and was brave enough to do that. This was back before his channel had taken off. And it was just such an awesome experience meeting this young guy, and then also like it's gone on to the point where I actually went around Tokyo Disney Sea with him in Japan because he's become an important part of the Planet Coaster community and the Frontier community and the Frontier fam. So it's awesome. Silvarret, he's here, and well, I wonder if we can hear him. Silvarret, are you on the line?
Yeah,
here
I'm
he
here.
is.
Should be
How
here.
are you doing?
I am doing great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm even better for having you here now.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. That's amazing to hear.
No, it's nice. It's great. Really appreciate you coming along. Can people hear Sylv nice and clear? Oh, that rhymed. I can turn it up or turn the volume down if you wish, but if you can all hear him, that'd be great. So, Sylv, Planet Coaster, you started playing back in the alpha days, right?
Yep. It wasn't like the exact first day, because I remember the first couple of days that the game came out. This was the game that I was looking forward for so many years, because I played a lot of Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 before this, which is, of course, Frontier's previous roller coaster game before this, some long time ago. So I was waiting for Planet Coaster for a while, but the first few days it came out, I still had exams, and that turned out into a bit of a typical thing where every time a new update for the game came out, I also had some exams. But yeah, after a few days, I was able to join the game, and that's pretty much when I started. So not quite the very beginning, but still when the entire community was still trying to grow and everybody was still kind of exploring the game.
So we, of course, invited you along nice and early because I remember our creative director, Johnny Watts, being like, have you seen this guy, Sylv? He's creating some amazing stuff. And we were just blown away by, because they knew what tool they were making with this piece-by-piece building and the creativity kind of thing and the sandbox-style gameplay of Planet Coaster. They must have known what they were doing, obviously, because they worked on RCT3. But I was new to this experience, so I didn't really know what to expect. But you were one of the first people that everybody suddenly noticed was making just really wild stuff. You started off a YouTube channel as well, or you had one running previously because you've been playing games like City Skylines and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So you must have been. Were you quite surprised when we contacted you and told you to come along to I think we invited you along to an event before the launch, didn't we?
Yeah, the launch event as well, but even before that to the Gamescom event as well. And really, I think it is Planet Coaster that really made my channel a thing, because before that I started off with Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 and picked up some City Skylines somewhere along the way as well. But it was really when I made those Planet Coaster videos and you guys started sharing them on social media, things like that, and you invited me to Gamescom and the launch events as well. It's really because of that my channel really started picking up. So by now it's mostly built on Planet Coaster fans as well.
That's awesome. And as you said in the chat, as you can see in the chat as well, before I move on, sorry, it is obviously a give and take thing, and we're just absolutely thrilled that we have as many people who are engaged as you are. So thank you so much for coming along and doing that. But if you read in the chat as well, people are saying such lovely things about you. So please in the chat do put some nice things in there about Sylv and how, and put a comment in there about how watching his YouTube channel has sort of changed the way that you play Planet Coaster as well, because you were doing tutorials, you were doing how not to do things, but at the same time creating weird and wonderful creations. And tonight we're going to be showing off some of those weird and wonderful creations. You've chosen 10 creations. You're going to talk us through one by one, but at the same time, like overall, what was your thinking when you were thinking, right, I've got to pick out 10 things? What were those things? What went through your mind?
It's mostly kind of, well, for one, it's kind of what's presentable, because I'm not really someone who likes to build a single thing and just kind of leave it at that. I'm more of a small parks person, so usually I build a small park instead of building blueprints. So I didn't have a lot of blueprints or like smaller creations to choose from. And also I tend to leave things unfinished for super long times. So most of the stuff that I'm still working on, I've been working on for over a year already, and they're still kind of unfinished. So I had to actually kind of look for some stuff that was actually finished and presentable.
But it's also you have most of your stuff is on the YouTube channel rather than actually uploaded to the workshop. So I think you were running through as well, uploading things specifically for tonight.
Yeah, I also have to be honest. A lot of my buildings that I would have liked to upload have over 4,000 pieces, and unfortunately the limit of pieces for blueprints in Planet Coaster is way too low for many of my buildings. So couldn't do that.
Great. Okay. So we have, and I think we've used some of those tonight as well. So we've got the full parks rather than the individual blueprints. But hopefully people can download them as well if they like them. And if you don't know who Silv is, well, tonight hopefully now you do. So Silver's the king of the community, says Lokin.
I always feel a little bit bad about that, because I just happen to be someone who has a lot of visibility. Yeah. And it's also, like I said, I also come from the Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 community, so I think what really started my channel off is that I was sort of the first person with that Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 background to really explore what you can do with that kind of experience in Planet Coaster, and it just kind of came from there.
Great. And it's worth noting as well, like you say, we have given you we did sort of showcase in the past, but the reason is because you've been so generous to us by creating so much content on YouTube and putting so much effort into just being part of the community. But we do very much intend to bring people on, such as we've got the Bro Coaster guys coming on, we have Floss as well, and a few others lined up that we haven't actually put onto that forum post just yet. Leave Games for Tom as well is going to be joining us on one of these. People who are amazing creators that maybe don't have YouTube channels or are quite forward with those sorts of things. And we'll get right on to showing your creations in just a second, but I want to ask you about this. Swiss Creations says you have great weenies. What does that mean?
So a weenie has sort of become the sudden, like, well, yeah, the word that sort of defines my channel almost, and a lot of people tend to use it as almost kind of a meme on my channel. It's not something that I came up with. It's the word that Walt Disney used for important structures in theme parks, like the Disney Castle and Space Mountain and Big Thunder Mountain, that sort of stuff. And it's sort of theme park slang that I use in a lot of my videos, but because it's a little bit of a weird word.
It's a funny word. It is a funny word.
It's definitely something that a lot of people associate with my channel.
Thought Criminal says, love your work, Silv. Hope we get more Volvara soon.
Definitely. I actually tried to finish that before today, but yesterday I actually dropped it because it was over 30 degrees in my room and my computer was overheating.
A Nuclear Production says, Silv got me into Planko with Grapefruit and the Coaster Collage.
Oh, nice.
Great. So we'll talk more about these. All my faves are in here, including Delay Designer is in here. Kimatax is here as well. I learned a lot from Silv and Delay Designer back in Alpha. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am today. So much love, and this is the kind of love that we want from this live stream series. So we'll keep them coming, and thank you all for being here, and make sure you come back lots. All right, so let's begin things. We have a schedule to adhere to, and we're running 2 minutes late.
Yeah,
that's my fault. I'm rambling.
That's okay.
All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump in and we're going to take a look at, well, I'm just going to jump into a sandbox mode really quickly. Sandbox park is fine. We're not going to be saving this or anything.
Yeah.
But talk us through what is blueprint number 1 that you've chosen. This is the first of your creations that you've chosen to showcase tonight.
Yeah, this is the first of my creations, and it's also the last one that I started working on. It's a recent project that I started because you guys gave me an early access code to the recent updates in the game, which was a lot of fun for me because you gave a lot of members of the community that early access code, which is really nice, and a lot of amazing content came out of that. But I pretty much figured what's the kind of thing that a lot of people aren't going to pick up, like right at the start, more of a niche thing that maybe not everyone's interested in, that I really want to try out. And what I found to my surprise, really positive surprise, really, is that you guys added some supports in the last pack. So you can now make your own custom coaster supports, including lots of details like the footers and the flanges. So yeah, basically I started this coaster just to see what these supports that came in the new update look like.
Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes.
I don't want to distract you too much, but we're having a look at it now. But that was kind of your main priority behind this, was to create your own, to play around with these, and you did upload a video about it, if I remember rightly.
Yep, I've done 2 videos on it now, and we'll see when I finally finish it up.
But it also features a lovely sort of pavilion-style building as well.
That was something that I wanted to try because some of the new building pieces have a kind of Arabian feel to them. Most notably, those pillars and the arches as well, and of course the onion dome at the top of the building. Also the windows on the side. Just lots of new pieces that I thought could fit very well into that theme.
Excellent, and it's a lovely piece. And
Thank you.
yeah, it's really good. I feel like we should probably ride the coaster just a little bit, because one of the things that you oh gosh, I'm so sorry. Go away. I should have turned off notifications. Is you kind of fairly well known for creating roller coasters, really, at first, weren't you?
Yeah, definitely. And it's also kind of funny because just before Planet Coaster came out, I was actually afraid of roller coasters. When I was 19, and I'm 21 now. When I was 19, I was still afraid of roller coasters. But
Were you
like,
really?
yeah,
That's so surprising to me.
yeah, I know, it's really weird. And then like 2 years ago, someday my parents took me to the Efteling, and I figured, today I'm gonna try and get over my fear of roller coasters. And I basically built it up there, starting from the lowest one and ending at the highest one, which I didn't expect to ride at the beginning of that day because I was totally afraid of it. But I pushed myself over it, and after that I actually got addicted and started planning more theme park trips and looked much more into roller coasters. And now I think I'm a full-fledged roller coaster enthusiast. I spent the last month traveling across Europe to go to weird and obscure theme parks just to ride their roller coasters.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, by now I probably know a little bit too much about them.
Well, is it when you're building these things? Is realism important to you?
Yeah, definitely. For me, it is. Maybe partly because I've been on a lot of roller coasters in my life and I know a lot about it. That this game is almost like a little sandbox for my mind to see what kind of roller coasters I would actually love to ride in real life, but could also realistically be built by real life companies. So I always try to keep in mind what the certain style of a company is and what kind of different roller coasters they have, and try and build as realistically as possible to make it kind of realistic for my own imagination that a roller coaster that I designed could be built somewhere, potentially.
Excellent.
Probably
All
won't
right.
be, but it's a fun thought.
I think it's a fantastic. I hope it happens. I really do. There's some creators in the community that I always think it would be incredible if their creations came to life. Oh,
Right. Yeah.
Right. Next up, we have the Japanese chief beef. So talk me through, why did you choose this one to show off today?
So this is one of the buildings from my park called Suzaku, which, well, it's not really a park. It's kind of Fantasy Valley, but I stopped working on that park, unfortunately. But this is my favorite building from the park, and the park is definitely one of my favorite parks that I've worked on. So it's just a little memorable weenie, I would almost say, but not quite, in a Japanese style. And
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite buildings that I've done as well. It's still my Twitter banner in the background, and I just love Japanese architecture in general.
Yeah.
And this
Well,
is
you lived in Japan for a while, right?
Yep, I lived there for almost half a year as an exchange student.
And was it then that you were inspired to do these sorts of creations?
Actually,
Or was it
did
actually
this
before?
just before I went to
Oh,
Japan,
wow.
actually.
Oh, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I definitely looked into the architecture as much as I could, trying to copy what real Japanese architecture is. It probably isn't quite that right, but it's fun trying to like learn about it and see some real life examples and kind of imitate that.
People are really enjoying you saying weenie. All right, so all right. Next up, we have the Koali Beach Playground. That's this one here. Now this one says, I mean, I've already talked to the designer who says that she will at some point join us on the stream doing one of these creator showcases. But this was a collaboration, wasn't it? This is part of a collaboration, at least.
Yeah. So this is part of Koali Beach, which is a park that I did together with the lady designer and Corellis and Rudy Renkamel, which is also the idea for that park. Also kind of stemmed from that Gamescom that I went through as the first event that you guys organized that I was a part of. So it's really cool how that sort of came together as well. And I think this park took over a year to build. So many different episodes.
Wonderful.
It's an enormous park. It ended up like freezing all of our computers because it just got way too big. But this is probably my personal favorite build that I made in this park. Just a little contribution to one of the corners in the park where we figured we needed something for the kids, and I had some fun looking at real life playgrounds and trying to get some of those like parkour kind of playgrounds into Planet Coaster by building it out of wooden planks and ropes and all of those little details that the game has.
Yeah, I do love those little bits. The sort of the stone, not the stones, but the obstacle course is what we would call it, I think. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
A really, really nice creation. Just a brilliant bit of scenery, suitable for any park. It doesn't necessarily have to be a beach themed park. You could put this anywhere.
Oh yeah, really.
Yeah, and then of course you've got the nice sort of the wooden planks making up the benches and things before benches were a thing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I believe it was anyway. It's now getting very difficult for me to remember what was before, what was.
Yeah,
what
no,
was,
you're completely
before
right.
afterwards.
These are non-functional picnic benches, and
Yeah.
nowadays
You
we
need to
have
update it. You need to go back and update it.
That's a very good point.
No, not really. Yeah, I'm clicking around on things so people can see sort of how the buildings were put together. You know, just the attention to detail in this park was just absolutely astonishing.
Oh yeah.
And it was what you can see here. I don't know if anybody ever saw the full park. Apologies for the auto updates, which will go away. It was a great series, and this was just part of. Yeah, it was before Spooky and Adventure Packs, as the lady in the chat. I think so. Yeah, and it was just everything looked as good as this in terms of attention to detail, and you could sort of tell the slight differences in style where people had created different things in their own sort of way. I thought it was really, really lovely, and again, a real example of the wonderful Planet Coaster community spirit as well.
Definitely.
All right, let's have a look here. Next up, we have the.
Oh, that's a Dutch
I'm gonna
name.
murder this. Go for it.
Sorry about that. Well, in Dutch it would be the Zwarte Juffer. I named it that because it was inspired by Rotterdam buildings, and buildings in Rotterdam always have a kind of harbor or water theme because it's a harbor city. So that's what the name was based on as well. It's something that I built not too long ago when I figured the building tools in Planet Coaster are so flexible, and even though they're meant for theme parks, you can do just about anything with them. So why not try and build some skyscrapers? And that's when I decided to try and build some skyscrapers in the game. And I recently gave this thing an update because recently glass was added into the game. So I replaced what was previously just art pieces with actual glass balconies and glass windows and stuff like that.
So now you need to do all the interiors.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. That would take a lot of work, though.
Is that a no? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a no, unfortunately.
Oh, Okay. Well, if anybody wants to download the skyscraper and turn it into a hotel, or actually fill those floors with different items, they're very much welcome to. All you need to do is search for the Zwarte do it again.
The Zwarte Juffer.
The Zwarte Juffer, which is DE space ZWARTEJUFFER, and it is a blueprint that you can download, and I would love to see what people do with filling these floors with things inside. That'd be really, really
I
cool.
think using it as a hotel is actually a great idea.
Yeah, or a freefall tower. That's a good point, Pyroman.
Yep.
Yeah.
If it does fit, though, maybe it's a little bit cramped. You'd also have to take out all of the floors and everything. But
Well,
people will find a way, probably.
It would be worth the effort. All right, I'm going to have a look now. Right, okay, the next one. Because time is flying by here.
Yeah.
The Elemental Spire. This is a famous Sylv creation, I think.
Yeah, this is an iconic weenie, if I may say so.
Well, you have. It's too late. You said it, and you're going to get lots of comments in the chat about it. All right, so tell me about this weenie.
So I built this park because Frontier asked me to build a park. I actually forgot the reason, but I remember that I built this out of commission for Frontier in like a few days for an event where people would play this park. I think was it PAX? I'm not sure.
It was either PAX East or Frontier Expo.
Then I think it was PAX East, yeah, because I think I remember putting a PAX sign in the park.
And 17. So that was February 2017. Can you believe that? Yeah.
That's pretty old, actually. Huh.
Yeah, you think about it. And think about how people are still here, still talking, and still making creations. It's so wonderful to think. And yeah, it's just a really cool sort of monument, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't really have a function, although in the park I added a staircase of paths running up to the top of it, so people could use it as an observation tower, but keep in mind it only had stairs, and it's about 100 meters tall, so it's also a bit of an exercise.
So you wouldn't really want to go there in real life.
Yeah, it's mostly there for aesthetic purposes. I wanted to try and build something modern and kind of sleek. And
like almost like what's the thing called? The London Monument, you know, the one that's at the Olympic Park. You probably don't know, but it's
I know.
it just looks like a lovely piece of sort of modern, large, giant modern sculpture, essentially. So yeah, yeah, it's nice, and like you say, realism is at the key in the heart of these things, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you would like these structures. You'd almost want to believe that these structures could be built like this. Do you have like an interest in sort of architecture and things like that?
I definitely have an interest, but I don't study it or anything like that.
I remember being fascinated, first of all, that you were only 18 or 19 at the time, and secondly, that you weren't doing an architecture degree, because of the way the things that you were building were just the way that you had an eye for it immediately was very impressive. And I think I couldn't stop talking about that kind of thing as well. Again, 2 years ago, feels like such a long time ago now.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
when
the thing
was Gamescom when we did that? It was summer 2016.
September or something too, right?
2016.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
The game is like 2 years old now.
August 2016.
Huh.
Gosh. We've known each other for a long time. All right. Anyway. Wow. Okay, let's talk about the... and another famous one here, the Accelerator.
Oh, yeah. So that's a roller coaster, and I realized I forgot to put that in. I forgot to put that in my own little park that I'm looking at here. So I'm just gonna have to look at your screen now.
It's okay.
But it's okay. I more or less know what it looks like. It's one day I think I just decided to try my hand at a coaster blueprint with a station. I think that's mostly it. And the Accelerator came out of that. This is really one of my oldest creations, though. Definitely one of the oldest that I'm showing here. It has a bit of an 80s retro futuristic look to it, and I'm mostly a fan myself of the station. It's one of my favorite buildings personally. It's really simple. It's not very super detailed or anything like that, but I just feel very nice about the curves and the composition and everything. So that's why I decided to put it in here. And it's got the cool cannons that the coaster launches out of, which always seems like a really cool thing, just like Space Mountain in Disney or something like that.
Yeah. All right, let's ride it. We have to. I just feel like it doesn't make sense not to at this point. Again, I remember this one very specifically as well.
Yeah, same here. It's definitely one of my most viewed, I think, as well, creations for just a single video.
And how would you go about making those the videos? You would just you would film yourself putting it together, or was it more that you would finish it first and kind of then discuss and talk over the videos afterwards?
Yeah, I mostly just record without talking. So I turn everything into time lapses, which is nice for two reasons, I think. For one, I'm a very slow builder. I take hours to do something. So at least that actually adds some speed to it. Otherwise, it would take way too many videos and way too much time, and nobody would be interested. And secondly, it's just I suck at talking and building something at the same time. I live stream sometimes, but one live stream I spend 4 hours on a single roof. It just doesn't work out very well. So I like to just listen to some music or to some podcasts and just kind of relax while I'm playing the game. And then I turn that into time lapse and put some commentary over it later on, which just works really well for me.
Yep, and it works well for the audience, so that's the important thing. Right, what have we got? Okay, still got 4 more from your list. The next one up is I might pronounce this wrong, as Maros log cabin, or Maros.
I honestly don't know how to pronounce it. I got it straight out of Russian. I don't speak Russian at all. I just thought it sounded pretty nice.
Okay.
It's just a tiny little log cabin, and that is really all there is to it. I did see that you added it to the stuff to look at because of Frontier's choices, so we'll get into the full park eventually.
Oh, for the ride, yeah. Exactly. I've actually picked a few things that are kind of, you showed off the individual pieces within it, and then later on we're going to get a look at the actual with it in situ at the park as well, because I think that your overall parks are just absolutely stunning. Kind of, they're not, like you say, they're not even full parks. They're just kind of places. You just kind of make places rather than theme parks.
A little context, I suppose, for the things to be in, because this log cabin as well, I kind of chose it as a blueprint because it's quite detailed, and I do like how it looks on its own. You can zoom in and kind of appreciate the detail in it, but I think it works a lot better when it's in the park itself. It's kind of perched on top of the rock, and seeing it overlook the rest of the park and seeing it from the vantage point of the rest of the park, it just feels completely different. And I think that kind of context is really important in what I do, and that's also why a lot of my buildings I don't really upload as separate buildings onto the workshop.
Okay, because you feel like context is important.
Yeah, but this building is it's just kind of cute. I don't know, I love cute buildings. I actually really like really small buildings, and I just love this cute little simple wooden shed.
At the time as well, when all these you first started making these sorts of things, it was just looking at how you used the pieces in some really interesting ways that the sort of people hadn't previously thought about doing. Was it just a process of elimination, that you were just taking every single piece and seeing if it would work and then matching it up against the building?
It's kind of the way that I've always thought about it is I always try to imagine what I want to have in terms of looks first, and then kind of look at the pieces in the game and figure what piece can actually use to do that. So if you look at the roof, for instance, it's made out of wooden brackets, which isn't entirely efficient, but I was really picky about the way that the roof would look, especially with the snow on it, because I kind of wanted the snow to kind of scatter and fall to the bottom of the roof as they kind of do in real life. So I wanted to do that sort of shingle roof, and looking at the pieces, I found that this wooden bracket is just really good to do that with, and that's how I kind of got to that, and that's how I usually figure out how to build stuff. Kind of thinking of what do I want it to look like first, and then really try anything until something sticks.
We have Veguid says, "What's in the shed?" Or is that for people to never find out?
I think that's an inside joke from the roller coaster community.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, there's a one wooden coaster where the marketing consisted of what's in the shed, and then at the
that
end
right?
it turned out that the shed was just a storage shed where the coaster would go through, and there was not much to see. So
That's
people kind of joke about that
really
now.
boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right, next up we have the... Oh, this actually, you've picked 3 parks. So I'm going to just quickly go back to the main screen here. Oh, hello, full screen again. And load up some of the parks that you've delivered as well. In the meantime, where can people, and we'll do this again at the end, but you are still going to be creating YouTube videos, right? You still enjoy doing it, even though you're very busy with studies and things?
Yeah, definitely. I've been kind of inactive the recent year because I went to Japan, had some study stuff, traveled for theme parks. But basically, since this week, I'm finally back in the Netherlands again, and I finally have some time again to do some Planet Coaster things. So definitely want to, at least for now, finish all of the projects that I have, and then try to come up with some new stuff to build.
Excellent stuff. I'm sure people are very excited to hear that you're excited to come back and do some more. And welcome back to the Netherlands. I say welcome back, I'm not there, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right, so this one is, well, our next choice is, the one that you've chosen is Grapefruit.
Yeah.
Is that right? I got that right?
That's the worst name for a roller coaster, I know.
I quite like it. This feels, for some reason, well, talk me through it. Talk to me about it, because it's awesome. Again, you've created a little place with some really lovely context here.
Yeah.
Gosh, we have I've just realised how little time we have.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'll try to speed through this a little bit.
No, it's great. Just take your time. We're in no rush, really.
All right. It's kind of inspired by Six Flags style of theme park building, which means not really any scenery, not really any theming, not really trying to make your park look very nice. It's all quite simplistic, using a lot of very basic modern architecture and basic materials. But their coasters are usually really nice and always have these bright colors. So that's what I was inspired by most of all.
Cool. I love the colouring in this. It's something about it weirdly reminds me of Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, and I don't know what it is about it that reminds me of that.
A lot of people pointed out that this coaster is kind of similar to a coaster called Grapevine in Roller Coaster Tycoon 1.
So maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
A park called Funtopia, and it had this highway going
Yes.
through the middle of the park, and it would kind of go over that. And it has a similar color scheme and name to it. And
Yeah, I think that maybe that's what's happened in my brain.
Yeah.
Anyway, we
probably.
should ride it. I feel like we definitely have to ride it. It would
Yeah.
be obnoxious of us not to ride. Okay.
I do have to say this probably works best on the nose cam, better than the head cam.
Yeah. Sorry. Let me do that. Sorry. Oh gosh, I've broken it. Certainly. I'm pressing all the wrong buttons here. Where are we going? Why have I lost?
The last button to the right.
Yeah, and then it's the little tiny one, isn't it? Yeah, sorry. Front bumper. There you go. And we can
Looks
just...
like a grape ride. Then it stands to raisin, and it is nice.
And it is current. Aloria's back. You know Aloria's here when there's those sorts of puns.
It's funny actually.
flying around.
I watched Aloria when I was a little kid, like 10 years ago, more than that, when Aloria built these indoor roller coaster Tycoon 3 parks. It's really cool to actually see them
Wow. That is
I
amazing. How about that, Aloria?
here. You made my childhood.
That's
Maybe
just
even-
stunning to think.
Kept me into this sort of game to later on discover Planet Coaster.
Ed doesn't play this game for a while, give him a break. Well, I played it the other day. I've been playing it regularly. I'm just an idiot. Yeah, sorry. Thanks, Wallow TV, though. I appreciate that.
That's basically how it feels, though. Now it's basically become my life.
This is great. Look at this thing. And it's a lovely coaster. Really, really lovely.
It is a bit of a coaster where I tried to break Planet Coaster, though. This is the first ride where I did that, and I think it's the first ride where anybody did it. Some people call it basically everyone calls it the 4-meter method. It's where you build your coaster out of 4-meter sections, which makes it a lot of work, but it gives you more fine control over your layouts. So, it's really specific, and I know only real coaster nerds kind of do this, but it allows you to really make your shaping just like real life coaster manufacturers. So that was really sort of the experiment of this particular ride.
It's very cool. What would you say is the weirdest thing that's happened to you as a result of doing YouTube videos and playing Planet Coaster?
Ooh.
I should have prepared you for that one, shouldn't I?
Plenty of weird things definitely happened, like
It is
you
odd, isn't
guys
it?
flying me over to Los Angeles and stuff like that.
What about that time when when you and I went to Disney Sea together? That was kind of
that
weird.
was amazing.
Great though, right? We had a
I
good
miss Tokyo in general. It's such an amazing city.
Yeah.
But I had this really weird moment once, which isn't even particularly related to Planet Coaster, but it was definitely because of it. Because somebody once sent me a message on Twitter saying, "I just saw you in the train. You were sitting in front of me. I didn't say anything, but I recognized your voice." And I was like, "Oh, I'm famous now, I guess."
That's amazing. Oh, those moments are always really cool, though. They should, but you always think. I mean, you must have thought you should have said hello. Like that would have been really
Yeah,
cool to say hello to
exactly.
these
That's what I
people.
thought. I thought, well, this is a little bit creepy and a little bit of a missed opportunity. But that's okay.
No, it's nice though, isn't it? Right. Okay. This one is. I mean, it's going to spoil the. When you made the video of it,
Oh yeah.
I'll let you talk through it. You talk through it. It's kind of, and I keep saying about these famous creations, and I've realised how many of them that you've done. We also used these in official trailers. We used this one specifically in official trailers, and I think that people will know as soon as I look at it. But yeah, talk us through this creation and what the thought process behind it was.
Yeah, so this coaster is called Planet Coaster. It actually started as a joke. I thought, how funny would it be if I made a coaster called Planet Coaster? And then I put too much effort into the joke, and it wasn't even a joke anymore. And I actually
so
tried
you
building a
made
coaster on the
Planet
planet. Yeah,
Coaster, and it's a good coaster, is it?
it's honestly, personally, it's my favorite video that I've done, the final video for this, because it just works so well with the music and everything, and it's kind of unlike anything that came out before it. It's something that only works in the video though, which I think is something that you kind of brought up earlier.
Yeah.
It's one of those projects that I did where you kind of have to see the video. It doesn't really work in a park because the video uses a lot of editing and special effects to make it seem like it's actually in space. But over here, the illusion is kind of destroyed.
You put it into a green screen box essentially, which I think is genius in itself anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool, and then of course you edited in the sort of the night sky.
Yep.
Or a star sort of feel to make it feel as if it was. Yeah, he's the creator of the planet. That's right. Which is really cool. Right, moving forward just a little bit because I've got two. Oh no, just the one more actually to show off from your choices. Finally, this one is it's kind of a little preview of what you're working on now actually, rather than something that's a finished piece, so it is a work in progress. Tell us all about Volvara.
So, Volvara is apparently also, from what I've heard, one of the things that some Frontier employees bring up when my name is mentioned. I know a lot of people really like this project, actually more than I do. I've sort of been struggling with it myself. Hence, I've been working on it for, I think, over a year at least now. 1.5 years maybe. But it's a weird little project, kind of like Planet Coaster. I tried to do something new, so I tried to make a roller coaster on a floating island with a floating castle, kind of like that one Ghibli movie, but I've never seen that movie, but people keep mentioning it.
Laputa Castle in the Sky?
Yeah, I definitely need to see that movie at some point. I feel like
it's great.
I'm doing myself a disservice not watching it. But,
especially somebody who likes, Japanese-themed things as well.
Yeah, definitely. I love the other Ghibli movies as well. That's massively off topic, but yeah, it's kind of like that.
It's kind of it starts to begin to show your inspiration behind why you're creating these sorts of things, and let's have a look at it. So we have here this, and there's a reason why people like this. It's incredibly detailed. It looks almost strangely believable. It's more fantastical than other things that you've created, especially stuff that we showed off today, apart from Planet Coaster, of course, which of course is another fictional thing. But it's a wonderfully complex, interesting piece. So tell us about it.
Yeah, it's a steampunk thing, which is it's always a fun theme to mess around with because you can essentially make things really messy and really mechanical, and it's just something where I tried to make the coaster as compact as possible, trying to make it fit on a castle with a steampunk theme, and it's also a little bit of like an unusual project for me personally because I normally like to kind of plan out my stuff. I like to have an idea of what I'm building and sort of map out what I'm going to build and where and how what it's kind of going to look like before I actually build it. But with this build, I literally just started with a little terraforming thing in the sky somewhere and just kept adding stuff onto that. And I think that's also why it's not finished yet. It might
Maybe
look
it will
kind of
never be
finished, but
finished.
yeah, exactly. It's that kind of thing where it's only finished when I feel like I'm done with it. And I don't really feel that yet. I could probably upload it like this, and people might be, like, oh, this pretty much looks finished. But there's definitely some bits and bobs that I still want to keep adding. And when I feel like I don't really need to add anything anymore, that's when I think it'll be finished.
Okay. I'm excited to see the finished thing. It already looks wonderful. I won't show off too much more detail because, I don't want to spoil it. I feel you actually beforehand you were like, oh, if we could maybe miss that one off the list. And I was like, we can't miss that one off the list. It's amazing. And like you say, there's just some lovely. It feels alive. It feels like a lived-in setting. It does feel very Ghibli inspired. In a lot of different ways, kind of. There's some elements, especially under here, where you have the kind of you can imagine the people working there and sort of maintaining the underside of it that doesn't look quite as glamorous as the above, which kind of makes me think of Spirited Away a little bit.
Yeah, I was just about to say the bathhouse of Spirited Away is something that I did look at before this.
Because the wooden steps that she has to climb down at the side of the station, very much reminiscent of all this stuff around here and all these inner workings. Really awesome. I love it. I think it's fantastic. So, well done. Oh, we'll do a quick little nighttime display of it. Oh no, that's 12 p.m. We don't want that one. We want that one. Just to see some of those lights.
Prepare it for nighttime yet, though. But I'm sure it'll look fine.
It does. It looks great. Don't worry. But we'll move away from it because I know that an artist cares about their features. So those are your collections. Now I've grabbed a few more. We have roughly 15 more minutes. So I will try to sort of thunder through these because they could take a little while. Is everyone in the chat well, though? Just a quick note to say hello to everybody in the chat and thank you all so much for being here. People saying, yeah, it's a really interesting and very special creation. Final Fantasy IX for some reason. That's a really interesting comparison. Steampunk wishing could be combined with Western theme. Divra says this one's insane. One night I wondered when the sun would come back, then it dawned on me, says Aloria, and then we very quickly move on to the next to the next thing that I've chosen, which is earlier on we showed Maros, or like you say, it was the Russian word that I couldn't pronounce correctly.
I have no idea how to pronounce it either, so
I don't know either. So let's
maybe
find
there's a
out.
Russian chat who can help us.
Maybe. So we're going to load up Maros now. And have a look at it in situ, which is very cool. This is great, says Fog. It's like we're in Sylv's brain. That's a strange one. Doing well, take your time. Great interview, says Websearcher. Thank you so much, Websearcher. It's very kind of you to say. I'm glad that if people are enjoying this, do let us know, and excited to see more content creators. That'd be really, really cool, because we'll make sure we do more of this kind of thing in future. All right, hold on 1 second. We got. There, we're in. We've made it to Maros, and as you can see, like you said, the context is important. You can just see it sitting up there, up on top of that lovely outcrop. And again, context is important. Nice use of colour as well in all of these little settings. I think you've done a really, really great job.
Yeah, actually, I struggled quite a bit with the color. Color schemes are one of those things where I can spend an hour just trying to subtly change the colors of a coaster or something like that and keep looking at it from a distance until it kind of feels right.
I like the idea of this place being the arrival being here on the boat, and then and that's how you arrive at this park.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. Again, you can see the coaster. Is the coaster moving at this point, or has it been? I believe it is still. Is that? Yes. Yes, here we go. Still going. Perhaps we'll have a quick. Oh, I clicked on Shelley. Have a quick look at this the coaster. So anything special to point out about this park? I mean, obviously we can tell it's a very special.
Yeah, it was a Christmas special. I felt like making something just for Christmas, and because Russian themes I think aren't done very often, but I think there's some wonderful Russian architecture. I really wanted to try my hand at something Russian. So my focus really wasn't even that much on the coaster itself, but mostly on the station building. I spent a lot of time trying to rearrange wooden planks until I had something that I felt like I wasn't culturally appropriating Russia, but actually honoring them. So I hope it's a good building. I am actually quite proud of it. I think it's just like the little log cabin on the hill. It's just a really cute building to me. If I could cuddle a building, I would definitely cuddle this building. So,
That's really an adorable thing to say. If you could cuddle a building, you would definitely cuddle this building. You enjoy the wooden corbels, don't you?
oh yeah, they're super handy, really small pieces that you can make so many different things out of. This also uses a lot of the Christmas decorations. I think this was built when those things were just added to the game, and a lot of these decorations are like Christmas baubles or ginger house decorations, but turns out that they can pretty much give a Christmas atmosphere to just about everything.
Lovely stuff. Thank you so much. Right, we've got. Oh gosh, I'm falling behind it. Next one up. I'm going to load up the next one, and again putting. Well, is this you can try. You can go for it. Number 2 on my list. Mjolnir?
Yeah, that's a Scandinavian word. I'm not even sure how you pronounce that. I'm not even sure if it's Norwegian, Swedish, or Denmark or Danish if you pronounce it or write it that way. In any case, it's Mjolnir, I guess.
Mjolnir. Anything to tell me about Mjolnir as it's loading?
Yeah, so this one has a kind of Viking theme, and I built this one as pretty much a little impulse project over just a few days because I really wanted to build this coaster because you guys just at this point a new update came out where you guys added the RMC coasters.
Right.
So that's the hybrid coaster and the topper track wooden coasters, which for people who might not know this much about roller coasters, these are a really big deal in the coaster community. They're basically like wooden coasters, but they're super flexible and they have inversions and they're really intense and some of the best roller coasters in the world probably. So I was super hyped when you guys added this coaster type into the game. So I couldn't really do anything else until I built one of these coasters myself, and that turned out to be Mjolnir.
Reminder to yourself.
Oh, and
turn off
apparently it's
notifications.
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
I think so because somebody just said the word with like the 2 little dots on the O, and if my Scandinavian pronunciation serves me right, that's more like an but I'm not even sure because all those languages are different. I honestly struggled quite a bit with that recently when I was traveling through Denmark and Sweden for the theme parks there.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, sometimes you look at the words and you really have to wonder if that's even a word at all. It's so difficult to pronounce, especially Swedish words for me.
Swiss Creations says, what do you mean? All coasters in this game are not based off actual coaster designs. Any connection is purely coincidental.
Oh yeah, this is true. They're not officially based on them, but yeah, am I actually allowed to say that? Am I actually allowed to say the names?
Oh yeah, you are. Of course you are.
Okay, so these coasters are extremely similar to the real life RMC coasters. It's almost as if they intended it to be that way. So really wanted to build this.
That's cool, and it's a really lovely creation as well. Once again, great job. Are all your coasters, all that you've built, are they always in keeping with the game's version or vision of what is a good coaster? Do you always look to the ratings, or have you got your own set of criteria that you want to fulfill instead? Or do those actually balance out and usually match up?
I actually don't know the ratings for most of my coasters. And it's something that a lot of people
can
don't
tell you
expect
this
as well.
one's
Like I don't
pretty
even
good.
add them to my videos or anything like that. It's not really something I look at.
I think hopefully, I'm hoping that coincidentally you don't even look at them, but because you're trying to make them realistic in the way that the game has been built, that then actually they will end up being good coasters anyway, because you're trying to go for realism. And I know that Sam and Johnny and the designers, they were very, very keen to make it so that the roller coasters were realistic feeling. So I think.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure because I remember that airtime is, for instance, something that coaster stats pick up on, and having a coaster with a lot of speed and a lot of airtime is something that gives you good ratings in Planet Coaster. And it's actually, to come back to your earlier question, it's something that I want to do as much in my coaster as well, because in real life, I'm a big fan of airtime. It's that moment where you fly out of your seat. And
Just at the top
especially
of the...
when it's what they call ejector airtime, which is when you don't just float in your seat, but you're really pushed up against the restraints. That's just the best. So that's something that I always try to incorporate in my coasters if I can.
Excellent. Excuse me. And yeah, just loading up probably one of my favourite of your pieces, or parks, or places, and we use this again in an official trailer. I don't know if there's ever an official trailer without anything of yours in there, but this one is the wonderful Suzaku, which is the Japanese-themed, the Japanese-inspired park, and it is just awesome. So, yeah. Tell me more about this, and please, people who have followed me on my friends list are playing lots of games and it's popping up. Note to self, make sure you change that next time. Come on, Lewis. I'm going to change it immediately after this. But yeah, let's...
Yeah,
we'll just,
Fulvar. Suzaku.
That's right. It's awesome. Look at this thing.
It's basically the remains of a theme park that I tried to build, but kind of turned out to be too ambitious at the time. I wanted to build something with lots of different areas, basically an area for every part of the world. But eventually, I only ended up finishing one of the areas, which is the Suzaku area, which is the Japanese/Chinese inspired area. It's not really that architecturally correct. It's kind of a blend of both styles, especially with the different colors and the different colored roofs. That's
How
not
dare
really something
you,
that
Sylv?
Japan would do.
Dare you?
So yeah, I took a lot of
this
liberties
specific
here.
area I'm looking at here is kind of what we're talking about, Suzaku. But over here, you've also got this beautiful area, which shows off another thing that you're really fantastic at, which is the main streets. He's having a look. I can hear you looking over at this other screen.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, this is this is just fantastic as well. Like, unbelievable.
It's very much Disney inspired, especially the main street.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, you've got the palace in the background.
Yeah, exactly. So
Look at this
basically
rubbish on the
taking
floor, though, Sil.
blueprints.
Sort this out. Come on.
Well, maybe one day my dream is that I'll build another park which is like this, but a new one, because at this point this park's also a little bit outdated.
Outdated
I would
almost,
say.
yeah.
It's, it
so
uses all of the
good.
old pieces. It's already quite an old park, and we've got so many more new things nowadays. We didn't have the free like the color tools that we have nowadays. We could only choose from a pre-made color palette when I made this park. So if I would do this again today, I would have slightly different colors because we get more freedom with that now. Also, that's beautiful trash on the ground. But yeah. I would love to do something like this again.
Because it was so quiet, the park, yet there's just rubbish everywhere. It's almost like a ghost park. But yeah, this is beautiful. I think the coast looks awesome as well, like weaving through all the pagodas and things. It's just really, really good. Oh, and there it is, your favourite building, the Chief Beef. The lovely, well-made Chief Beef thing. And in context, like you say, even better with all those benches and the nice seating area outside. And now you could take it back and put it in the game as well, which is really, really cool.
Yep.
Easton Hopkins says, is this the real Planet Coaster, people? I just subscribed. Easton Hopkins, yes, do you mean, is this the real Planet Coaster, comma, people? Like, hey, people, is this the real Planet Coaster? Or do you mean, are we the people who make Planet Coaster? Yes, Frontier Developments are the people who make Planet Coaster. And I'm the community manager at Frontier Developments, and we're bringing on creators to talk through their creations and things that they've made in the game. And today we have Silvarret. Got it right first time. Yes. All right, I've got a couple more things I want to show off. Actually, you know what? I'm kind of going to leave it there. Because I think that that's a really, really lovely way to finish. The other two things I wanted to show off were just a couple of blueprints, and they were really, really lovely. But I think by showing off these full sort of settings, I think, come on, I mean, look at that, with the sun going down a bit behind.
I agree with that.
I mean, it's a screenshot generator, isn't it? But very, very cool. Developers, yes, Easton Hopkins, we are indeed. And thank you very much for coming along. And thank you, Sylv. So, closing comments.
For me, thank you very much for having me, of course. It's been amazing. And thank you for all of the support throughout the years. It's going to sound super cliche, but I honestly wouldn't be where I am right now if it weren't for you guys. And hell, thanks for making Planet Coaster at all, because if you didn't, I would still be playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 all these years, which is... it's your game as well, but Planet Coaster is definitely a massive improvement, and I think probably the best theme park game out there right now.
And it will continue to go from strength to strength as well. So thank you, everybody, for coming along. And thank you, Sylv, because without you and people like you, then we wouldn't be here still doing this. So literally, look at this. Look at this behind me. This You created this wonderful thing. We gave you the tools, but you sort of built these things and kept making YouTube videos and growing an audience around that and helping the Planet Coaster community become really start to feel like a family. And that's kind of what we want to do with this series, which is bringing content creators or creators within Planet Coaster community and showcasing their amazing work and saying thank you. So thank you, and thank everybody in the chat as well. Thank you all so much. Have a lovely, lovely time, lovely weekend. Is that what I'm trying to say? Weekend? No, wait, it's only Wednesday. Have a good rest of your week. God, it was a really good sign-off until that point, wasn't it? Thank you all for being so great. And Sylv, thank you so much. Where should people go to find out more information about you if they want to learn more, if they haven't already subscribed?
So my name is pretty much Silvarret on every single platform. You can see the spelling in the title of this live stream. Sometimes the spelling goes kind of wrong because it's a really weird name. Forget it. Anyway, you can find me under that name on pretty much every platform, on Twitter, YouTube, and also Twitch. So yeah, if you want to see more of my stuff, go ahead and follow me on those platforms. You can even find me in some Discord servers. The Lady Designer Discord server and the Bro Coaster Discord server. The Bro Coaster guys will also be here in 2 weeks. Anyway, that's wildly off topic.
No,
that's
it's not at all. No, it's great. It's great. It's great. And somebody points out as well, massive shout out to the mods as well who are in these live streams like every single time we do them. Absolute legends. It's really, really cool. Thank you to everybody. So yeah, check out Silvarret all on social media and go back through his back catalogue of videos to see some really cool tips as well on how to get creating things in the Planet Coaster. So thanks again, everybody, for coming along. I'm going to go to the back soon screen now. So it was lovely to see you. And yeah, ta-ta. See you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.